Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm sure you've all seen all the Season 5 stuff on Twitter get announced, and of course, the YouTube trailer that is going to be shown for Season 5 on the 26th, which is Friday. This video is going to serve as a kind of all-encompassing video on Season 5. What is coming in Season 5? What are the changes? I'm going to be going over everything on Twitter, everything over the dev blog, and just basically what we know so far. This might be a bit of a long one, so if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders, and let's just get right into all of this stuff. One thing I want to mention up front is that for the people that watched my last YouTube video, I stated in that video, based off of Battlefield Bulletin, that they were going to be removing all of the explosive weaponry from the transport helicopters. Unfortunately, Battlefield Bulletin got this wrong, and I also didn't listen to the podcast, which is my fault. And apparently, DICE is not going to be removing all of the explosive weaponry from the transport helicopters. This is a massive disappointment, in my opinion, to hear this information. In my opinion, the transport helicopters have needed their explosive weaponry removed since the beginning of the game because they are transport vehicles. And removing their explosive weaponry was absolutely the right decision, and it just sucks that they're not actually going to be doing that. As far as other things being added to Season 5, we're of course getting the Irish and Dozer update. The Irish APS nerf, which basically makes it so his APS isn't as effective as at destroying explosives. That is a massive mistake in my opinion. It's just going to increase the already rampant explosive spam in Battlefield 2042, and I really do feel like that is going to be a tangible change that is going to make gameplay for infantry significantly worse in some areas of these maps. A great example of an area that you will feel this nerf in is Stranded Breakthrough inside of the boat. If you play Stranded Breakthrough or just really any close quarter breakthrough areas, you know where Irishes typically place their APS, and you know how many explosives those APS devices actually destroy. And now, that's not going to be the case. It'll destroy a few, but not all. And with the amount of explosive power these loadouts have in Battlefield 2042, I really do feel like this is a really bad change. Now, the Dozer changes are great. He's going to be a more usable character. Generally, just a great update for Dozer. Of course, in Season 5, we're getting a bunch of UI stuff. We're getting the squad system, finally. I can't believe I'm talking about them adding a squad management system over a year and a half into the development of this game, but we're getting it in Season 5. We're also getting some damage indicators in Season 5. That'll be good. Think of it as the Apex Legends damage indicators, where you shoot someone and there's a number that appears on your screen and shows how much damage you dealt to them. That'll be a great option for people to make the game a little bit more readable. Of course, this goes without saying, but I'll mention it anyway. Season 5, we're getting, obviously, a new map, new guns. Some of the new guns were leaked here. It looks like the Engineer class will be getting an RPG as an accessible gadget. The Sniper, the TTS Exceed, that was data mined by Temporal, is being added in Season 5. And we're getting the Desert Eagle 50 from Battlefield 4 as a secondary, as well as the G36C. So all of this stuff will be coming in Battlefield 2042 Season 5. Now let's shift gears and talk about the new vehicle dev blog that they just released today. Some of these changes are great. Some of these changes are unbelievably incompetent. To start things off, let's look at the LATV4 Recon. So in 4.2.0, it has access to the minigun, 40mm grenade launcher, 30mm cannon, and 50mm cannon. In this new update, they're removing the grenade launcher and all the cannons, and they're giving it a 12.7mm machine gun, which is actually a new addition to the game, if I'm not mistaken. It's not 50 cal. It's probably going to be balanced like a 50 cal, but this is shooting the 12.7 by 108 cartridge, I believe. On top of that, the LATV4 will be getting thermal sight variants of both the minigun and the 12.7mm heavy machine gun, on top of the fact that the Jeep is also getting 20mm flak and a canister shot. So these transport vehicles, this is just the Jeep we're talking about, by the way. I'm not sure why they feel like Jeeps need to be powerhouses, but that's what we're getting in Season 5, so hey, whatever. Moving on to the Wildcat, they stated that the Wildcat was too effective at basically everything in the game. It was anti-air, anti-infantry, and anti-ground, so they're trying to focus its effectiveness by removing the 57mm cannon, and they've replaced that with 35mm dual AA cannons, which are a separate upgrade to both the 30mm cannons and the 40mm cannon. So they're just basically adding a brand new weapon to the AA gun. On top of that, some of the gunner seats lost their current weapons. Most notably, the mortar pod is now gone from the AA. Thank God, because that thing is broken. And of course, one of the biggest changes is the EVGA Wildcat is actually getting its own separate category, so you'll be able to spawn this a lot more often on a lot more maps. Now let's move on to some of the changes that make absolutely no goddamn sense whatsoever. So the M5C Bolt. So I just want to read these two things to you back to back, and let's see if you guys can see the complete lapse in thinking DICE had here. Quote, "The Bolt wasn't intended as a stationary vehicle which shoots explosives from afar." End quote. Now I'm going to read you this. "To encourage this more active role, we're making its glass impenetrable from all projectiles and will grant passengers spotting capabilities. For its weaponry, we have granted it access to the 50mm cannon." End quote. Okay, let me get this straight. So you don't want the Bolt to do explosive damage from range, but then you gave it the strongest explosive damage long-range cannon in the game. What are you thinking? Are you thinking at all? Clearly not, because if you were, I don't think you would make this very obvious mistake. On top of the fact, I don't really know what they're thinking about making the glass on this thing impenetrable. People are not going to use the Bolt as a fast-paced, get in, get out sort of vehicle. You know what they're going to do with this thing? Because you gave it the 50mm cannon? They're going to park it backwards on a hillside with the 50mm cannon, just like people do with the Jeep right now. And to make matters even worse, you made the glass impenetrable, so you can't even snipe them out of it if they make the mistake of parking it forwards. So, you just made, I don't even know, Sorry, Enders died in the recording of this voiceover. I'm his clone, Enders 2. But yeah, the Bolt changes make absolutely no sense in my opinion. I don't understand it. Comment down below if you want to try to make sense of this to me, because I don't think anyone's going to be able to. And I'm sure we'll see the return of jet farming infantry. I might even jump in a jet because that's just fun to do. Moving on though, vehicles are getting thermal sights, which means some weapons will have access to thermal sights. There's really not much to talk about there. Jet gameplay improvements, however, are gigantic. Jets have been underwhelming since the beginning of the game. They're seeing significant increases to their responsiveness as far as their camera movement, and they're also receiving rocket pods, which should skyrocket their effectiveness against vehicles, infantry. Basically, they'll make them a playable vehicle in the game, which is awesome. I think jets are something that Battlefield 2042 has been missing since the beginning of the game, and I hope they give them spots on more maps. Coming to the end of this here, but we still have a lot more changes to talk about. If you're enjoying the content so far, hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel. I upload videos regularly on this channel. Turn notifications on if you do enjoy the content. Now, they've reworked the staff shell, which means that tanks can no longer lock onto enemy ground vehicles on their own with it. Instead, they're trying to take like a team play approach with this, and they made it so laser-designated targets deal extra damage when they're shot at by a staff shell. So, we'll see if any teamwork actually happens there. The last time they tried to force teamwork was Battlefield 5 with attrition, and everyone hated it. So, that's just not going to work, I think. Now, a change under this that is being heavily overlooked is the fact that every single vehicle in the game is receiving the Cyber Warfare Protection System as something they can choose. For those of you that don't know what this system is, it is a system that you can choose in place of the auto repair that basically allows you to avoid being hacked by RAW. Now, if you remember what I said earlier in the video, they are not removing the 40mm grenade launcher from the Superhind or the Condor, which means that the Superhind and Condor can have 2 people repairing, which means that you don't technically need the auto repair ability, which means that you can have the 40mm grenade launcher and anti-RAW hacking abilities on the transport helicopters, which makes them more overpowered than ever. Because longtime viewers of the channel know that whenever I post Superhind videos, the one thing that really prevents the effectiveness of the Superhind 40mm grenade launcher, mega team, from wreaking havoc on the entire server is RAW. RAW says, no, I'm disabling your ability to play the game. Now, the Superhind says, no, RAW, I'm disabling your ability to disable my ability to play the game. This is, in my opinion, a gigantic oversight, and I really don't understand this at all. I'm going to make a video both on the 50mm cannon bolt and the new and improved Superhind/Condor mega farming method with the 40mm grenade launcher and anti-RAW capabilities. I think it's going to be disgustingly overpowered. that is all I have for you in this video. Season 5 is shaping up to be very interesting. We'll have to see how the map is, of course. With the Irish APS nerf, infantry gameplay could be overall net worse. Vehicle gameplay could be overall better as a result of these changes. So I think there's just a lot of things we have to figure out how they're actually going to be. If you watched to this point, thank you so much. I love you. I kiss you directly in the forehead. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thank you guys so much for doing that. And of course, follow your boy on Twitch. First link in the description. Join the Discord and follow me on Twitter. All those links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys later.